Cathead Reynolds signing in. No cat ears today. We'll just have to imagine. Okay, let's see. I wanted to talk about archetypes today, but to talk about archetypes, we have to back up a little bit. Let's start with what the self is. The self is the observer. Uh, you are yourself whether you're thinking anything or not. Uh, in fact, this is why we have meditation, because when you identify too much with your thoughts, you can get caught up in taking them seriously all the time. If you believe yourself all the time, you have all kinds of problems. Anybody can have some random thought, and it doesn't mean, say you had a ridiculous thought, doesn't mean you're a ridiculous person. It's just, that's how brains work. They think all kinds of things. So we have the self on one layer, and then we have thoughts, and then below thoughts we have emotions. Emotions are more like the echo of your thoughts. They create a background room, a space that lasts longer than thoughts. It sustains. You know, if something upsetting happens, you could be cognitively, you could be over it. You could be on to the next thing. Oh wow, that was strange. That I almost hit a car, but I'm fine now. I'm driving, but you're still going to be tense. The emotions are there to kind of make you make thoughts come back to something. But identification with the emotions too much can cause problems too. Then you could start to panic over some little thing, or you could stay really sad about something for too long or whatever. So the self also has to be careful not to identify too much with the emotions. They're a tool, like thoughts, but they're not you per se. Then we have below emotions, we start to get deeper into the unconscious, where we have archetypes. These emotions start to take on a story. You know, what do I mean by archetypes? I mean anything from Kali to Jesus to Cinderella. You know, the stories that we put behind the emotion. So you're scrubbing your kitchen floor, and you're thinking about you hope you win the lottery, and you're Cinderella. You know, you feel battered by people. You feel like you're a good person. You're identifying with Jesus. Whatever. Wow, brutal. Anyway, but the point being is that you don't want to identify with one archetype forever. Archetypes are useful the same way thoughts and emotions are useful. I wrote down here, to have one archetype as who you are is a fragile existence. And what I mean by this, say somebody identifies, they're trying to be like Jesus, right? Well, what about when they make a mistake, or they do something that they consider a gray area morally? Now their whole personality has become decentralized. They don't know if they really are, or maybe they're a horrible person, all this other stuff. So we need to be able to move between archetypes fluidly, the same way you should have freedom of thought, freedom of emotion. You should be able to experience a thought and not take it too seriously and go on to the next thought. You can experience an emotion as something trying to make you recognize something and go, okay, I recognize it, and move on. Archetypes too. When the self becomes archetype fluid, something remains beyond just those archetypes. So as you learn to try different archetypes out at different times, you go, okay, maybe today I am the hero of my story. And then another day you let yourself be the pupil, and you need to learn, and you need to be open and receptive. we need these different states at different times, and that's going to carry on. Then, when you're the hero the next day of your story, and you were the pupil the day before, you go, okay, but maybe I need to keep an open mind and learn some things from other people today. So it comes down to being able to accept your multiplicity. We are multiple beings, you know. No one is really a permanent character. I think people become aware of this, say, if somebody's a comedian or they work on a stage or they're an artist or a poet or a singer, they're sort of forced into this, well, sometimes you're carrying out a role, you know. Do you feel this way all the time? Probably not, you know. So, you know, that those are things that kind of help people be archetype fluid, is what I'm calling it. And then, you know, it's like the identification with the archetype ends the more fluid you are. You don't take any of them too seriously. You can be more of a pupil one day, but you know that you're not actually uh, ignorant or naive. You just, you know, you have to be open that day. Um, I thought about this a lot, and so some people might be like, why do archetypes matter? Um, I think they matter because they're a modality. They're a way of they're not part of this world, but yet they're how we perceive things within this world. Your relationships, if you have a romantic relationship or a coworker or anybody, all of humanity is about relationships, uh, and being able to accept these multiple archetypes as they move back and forth within you, being archetype fluid, uh, allows you to have more dynamic relationships with people. Uh, and as an artist, uh, I've been thinking a lot about why do we make art? And art is anything that's really not immediately necessary. I think this would be hard to argue with Fluxus, because you could say washing the dishes is art. But generally, we wash the dishes to have a place to eat our food later. It has a immediately practical purpose. Artifice is related linguistically. There's a sense of, say, let's go back to prehistory, uh, uh, stories being handed down verbally or symbols being drawn. Um, they they don't cause immediate survival, but they might cause the emotional state to acquire survival. Even, you know, when they talk about cave paintings with the animal being stabbed, you're emotionally and spiritually adopting that you will be able to do this. You know, does it physically make you kill the animal? No, that's not how magic or art or poetry work. They cause something in your archetypes to stir. And we, I guess what I'm really thinking about all this is humans humans attain some of their consciousness through all this. You know, we come out of darkness. We come out of a mundane existence of sort of without the extra meaning that songs and poetry and art and all that can cause, and we come into another realm. And so for artists, it's important to understand these concepts of archetypes, breaking up even breaking up language for the thoughts part. William S. Burroughs, Brian Geisen, cut-ups. You is a way to break down what you think of as a rational thought in the newspaper. You take a newspaper and you cut it up, and then now you see the other hidden meaning underneath it. So I find all this actually very hopeful when I think about this. The more, well, as a ceremonial magician, I've invoked so many different deities that I no longer see myself as any one person at any, I'm not really stuck. And I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm something else. I'm something beyond the role I'm playing at any moment. I'm just me, and this is about peace of mind. And this comes easier, I think, the more you do it. If you are a writer and you write a bunch of different characters in your story and you try to feel the emotion of each character, that's going to give you an extra sense of self that's a little bit beyond being stuck in any role, and give you peace of mind and be able to help others have this kind of peace of mind. Okay, so I'm going to wrap it up with that. I hope you all enjoyed that. Haven't done a video in a while. May you all find your own true will, your own higher selves, and have some kind of peace. I hope that nobody gets too caught up in any one part of their own consciousness and can learn to move through it. That's just my 2 cents. Everybody have a good day.